Good morning, Napa Valley Unitarian Universalists, and welcome to our online worship service. I'm the Reverend Dr. Leisa Huyck. I'm the parish minister here, and with me this morning as our celebrant is Tricia Lewis. This morning we have a very special treat for you. We gather as a multi-generational community today to carry out a very important annual ritual, our water communion. This uniquely Unitarian Universalist ceremony marks a time of ingathering when we begin our new church year and renew our commitment to our congregation and to the larger faith. It's also a time when we celebrate water itself. Water makes life possible here on earth. Without it, none of us could exist. None of us would be here. Layla would not be here, and Kai and Violet wouldn't be here. Finn and Poppy wouldn't be here. Iggy wouldn't be here. Atticus, Paxton, Omri, Percy, Trajan, Hadrian, RJ, and Kat, all of them would not be here if it weren't for water. Neither would I, nor Tricia, and neither would any of our pets, any of the trees we love, any of the flowers, butterflies, fish, birds. All the living beings on this planet depend on water for our lives. So it's important that we celebrate water, and we do this every year with the gathering of the waters. Let's think about our favorite body of water now. Is it a river, a lake, a creek, a pool, a pond, the ocean? What's your favorite body of water? Mine's the South Yuba River. You can say the name of yours now. And let's keep thinking about that body of water as we center ourselves through music.
All over the world, every Sunday, Unitarian Universalists light a chalice, the symbol of our faith. Today, we have some special chalice lighting words with hand motions to go with them. Iggy is going to help us with the hand motions. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are a people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. With minds, hearts, and hands, we care for ourselves, each other, and our world. Now let's sing hymn number 1046, Shall We Gather at the River? You can sing the traditional words about the river that flows by the throne of God, or you can sing about the river that flows from the source of love. With different people singing different words, we will be true Unitarian Universalists.
Shall we gather at the river, where bright angel feet have trod, with its crystal tide forever flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Ere we reach the shining river, lay we every burden down. Grace our spirits will deliver and provide a robe and crown. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Soon we'll reach the shining river. Soon our pilgrimage will cease. Soon our happy hearts will quiver with a melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Shall we gather at the river?
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful blue-green planet, orbiting a star in a spiral galaxy, in an endless starry universe. This planet had the most beautiful plants and animals and mountains and rivers and deserts and forests. It had human beings of every color and size and shape. And everything in being on this planet was interrelated with every other thing and being. It was really the most marvelous place. And yet, there was a problem. There were monsters abroad, and they were wreaking havoc. The biggest monster was named Fear, and it was made of fire. It got inside people's hearts and made them afraid, and when they were afraid, they did terrible things to others. Some people tried to fight Fear with the sword of righteous anger, but this just caused Fear to become bigger. It would throw out flames that became new monsters with names like hatred and rage and greed. Anytime people tried to fight those monsters with righteous anger, they too made more monsters with names like racism and sexism and ableism and homophobia and xenophobia. But fortunately, There was a tribe of valley dwellers who knew just what to do about the monsters. These people were the keepers of a beautiful well, out of which flowed the waters of life. Now the waters of life flow upward from the very center of the world, which is made of pure love. They are the sweet waters of loving kindness and compassion. These are the sweet waters that cool the fire of fear. Only love can heal fear. So the valley dwellers would put on their hats and their backpacks and their sunscreen, and they would go to the well to fill their urns with the waters of life. As they filled up their urns, they sang a beautiful song. Let's sing with them. It's hymn 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be
And then the valley dwellers would go wandering. They would find people and places who needed the waters of life, and they would share them. The valley dwellers would pour out love and compassion on the monsters of fear and hatred, and in this way they would help heal the world. This was their purpose in life. But then there came a great plague. The people had to stay at home. They could not gather in community. They could not go to their well and refill their urns. They could not take the waters of life to the people in places that needed them. And so they became more and more hopeless and afraid, and the monsters outside got completely out of control. The valley dwellers were sore afraid, so they began to sing a frightened song. Let's join them in singing hymn 1012, When I Am Frightened.
When I am frightened, will you reassure me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me, sing to me quietly? Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do. Then I may learn to care. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me, stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give. When I am troubled, will you listen to me? When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
After the valley dwellers sang their song, they felt a little better and realized that they could call each other on the phone and get on Zoom to share their fears and worries. As they did this, and then centered themselves with prayer and meditation, they realized that being together in this way strengthened them. Even if they couldn't be together in person, the love they shared soothed their fears. The waters of life they had in their urns seemed to last longer when they stayed in touch.
This is a time of great fear and unknowing. In times like these, it is particularly important to come together in religious community and share our lives in a meaningful way. Sharing our sorrows helps lessen our burden, and sharing our joys helps multiply them. We all need a little more joy right now. Let's take a moment to share the joys and sorrows of this community. We have a bowl of water here with some stones in it. And if you have a joy or a sorrow to share with all here, you can type it into the chat, and then you can silently choose one of the stones that you see in order to represent what you have shared. And you can allow that to mark your joy or sorrow in your heart. If you have a joy or sorrow in your heart that you don't need to share with all here, just type the word stone in the chat, and then you too can choose from among the stones in the bowl and let that stone symbolize your joy or sorrow in your heart. When we share our sorrows and our joys, we weave a web of love and care that lifts and supports us all. Now, let's go deeper. I invite you to get comfortable in your chair or the sofa or the floor, wherever you are. Try closing your eyes and sit in a posture or lie in a posture of both attention and relaxation. If you like, place both feet on the floor and feel your connection to the earth right through the floor to the living soil beneath. Feel how the earth supports you in every moment. Pull your shoulders up to your ears and then drop them and shake whatever's burdening you out through the bottoms of your hands. Receive a breath in and then release it out. I am here. Receive a second breath in and then release it out. You are there. And a third breath in and then out. We are together. Now hear these words. Spirit of life, source of all that is sweet and cool, hear our prayer today. It is nearly the end of summer, but from the sky we cannot tell the season nor sometimes even the time of day. Fires rage out of control throughout our lands. The pandemic keeps schools closed, and cruelty rages out of control in the nation. Parents are asked to do more than is humanly possible. Children are asked to do things contrary to their very nature. Grandparents must stay away from all those whom they love most dearly. We weep with anger and with sorrow and fear. In times such as these, let us go down to the river, if only in our minds. The water is a blessing, so cool and clear, so delicious on our skin. We can let go of all we carry and let the water hold us and soothe us and wash away our fears. The river slides over rocks, sculpting them as it goes. All in its path is made more beautiful. If the rocks stand in its way, it finds another way. Under or over or around or through. It will not be stopped. The river will not be stopped. Spirit of life, help us be like the river. Help us be a blessing that soothes away pain. May we be a coolness and a clarity that dissolve cruelty and hatred. May we join with others to become unstoppable. May our love change all whom we touch. Help us be like the river. Amen. Blessed be. Now let us join in a time of silence. The music will bring us out.
As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brothers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, come on down, don't you wanna go down? Come on, mothers, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sinners, let's go down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way.
Even though the valley dwellers had found that the waters of life in their urns lasted longer when they kept in touch, they knew they would need to refill those urns soon so they could take the water to other people and places. But how could they do it when they couldn't actually go to the well? They racked their brains, but most of them were so tired that their brains weren't working as well as usual. So they decided to ask for help. They sent emails and made phone calls, and finally arranged a Zoom conference with everyone there.
Help! Help!
And after a little while, they heard someone coming. A traveler appeared before them on the screen. "Hello," said the people. "Can you help us?"
Hello. What seems to be the problem?
"We are the keepers of a beautiful well from which flow the waters of life," said the people. "But we can't tend it or refill our urns. We're afraid it may have dried up. And without being able to refill our urns, we have no way of taking the waters of life out into the world and soothing the monsters of fear and hatred. What should we do? Can you help us?"
Why, yes. As it happens, I can help. I do have some ideas for what you can do.
"Will you please teach us?" asked the people. "Will you be our guide?"
Well, let's talk about it. Let's be sure we understand what I can do for you and what you must do for yourselves in order for me to be able to help you.
And so the traveler began to address the people.
There is just no way around the fact that this is a hard time, unparalleled in the lifetime of any of us here. There's the stress of having had to change nearly everything about our lives because of the pandemic, which we've been doing for 6 months now. And there's the stress of shock after shock after shock in the life of the nation, which has been going on now for almost 4 years. Then on top of that, we have the conflagration of the entire West, much worse this year than ever before, and the apocalyptic skies of the past week. Surely we can be forgiven for being a little cranky, or at the very least, quite tired. But we have 2 heroic efforts that we must yet make in the next few months. And we can make them. First, we must do every single thing we possibly can to make it possible for all to vote and then get out the vote. Studies and polls have shown time and time again that the vast majority of Americans have progressive values, values like ours. The vast majority of Americans believe a woman's body is her own and should be controlled by her, that every parent should be able to choose how many children to have and when, that every family and every person should have access to food, shelter, medical care, education, and clean water and air. That when your country is rich, instead of building a wall to keep prospective immigrants out, you should build a longer table and invite them in. That we should be teaching and funding peace instead of war. That people of all colors, genders, and sexual orientations are equally worthy and should have equal opportunities and receive equal pay for equal work. That we need to immediately stop burning fossil fuels and make a just transition to renewable sources of energy. That this beautiful earth and all of her beings are worthy of reverence and care. If the vast majority of Americans hold these values, why do we have the government that we do? Because those Americans don't vote. Sometimes Americans don't vote because they're prevented by devious means from doing so. But other times they don't vote because they believe it doesn't make a difference, that their voice doesn't count. But not voting makes a huge difference. It's why we are where we are today. So our first heroic task is to get out the vote. We need to do every single thing in our power to reach people who are not voting and convince them that they matter, that their voice matters, their opinion matters, and their vote matters. We need also to have the courage to make it possible for everyone to vote, even if that means physically accompanying people of color to the polls in states where that is necessary. And that brings me to the second heroic task that is before us. The president of our denomination, Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, has said, "This is no time for a casual faith. This is no time for us to lose track of how important Unitarian Universalism is to the future of our world, and no time for us to fall away from our own congregations. This faith This Unitarian Universalism has something powerful to offer this world. We have a theology that says everyone is worthy. Everyone is loved. It says that because we are interdependent, because we are, all of us need all of us to make it. It remembers that even after the hottest fires have scorched the ground, after the next rain, new shoots of green life will appear and then grow. It proclaims that love, that hope are stronger than fear. Because this theology is so necessary to this world, because our message is so healing and nourishing and revivifying, we must continue to take it out into the world in every way we can. We must renew our commitment to this congregation and its work in the community. Your religious life should be a high priority for every person here, not just an afterthought, not something you think about only if you have time, but the thing you put on the calendar before everything else. Here, you will find the spiritual nourishment you need to get through these hard times. Here, you will find the inspiration you need for how to make things better. And here, you will find companions for the journey. My beloved Napa Valley Unitarian Universalists, we do not know what will happen in the next 3 months. All kinds of scenarios are possible. And so it is time to get very serious about carrying the waters of life, life-transforming, world-healing love from this little community out into the world. I can offer you words and wisdom gathered by humans over thousands of years. I can offer you my love and care. You must do the rest. You are the ones you've been waiting for. If you will renew your commitment to this task, if you will devote your whole selves to this purpose, I will teach you how you can refill your urns with the waters of life without being able to go in person to your well.
For us to succeed, we will need to give generously of our money and time and talent and energy. We will need to offer everything we possibly can. As the song says, "From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live." Let's sing that together. Hymn number 402. 2 times through with the hand motions. Iggy will help us.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Let the offering of resources for the journey now be received.
Thank you for your offering. It will be a good start. Now, before we can continue, I require another offering. This offering is of your very being. I need you to pay deep attention with your whole selves as I share an ancient teaching with you. It just might change everything. I need you to commit to remembering this teaching and putting it into practice in every moment of your life. This is a secret teaching that is only revealed in times of great need, times just like the ones we're living in now. Are you willing to make this offering? Are you willing to learn this ancient teaching and put it into practice every day? If you are, lean closer and I will tell it to you. I will tell it very quietly so that you will be sure to hear. Here it is. You have within you a well from which flows the waters of life. It is connected directly to the living source in the center of the earth. It is inside your very own heart. Now, here's what to do to make those waters flow. First, close your eyes. Now, imagine sending roots down from your body into the center of the earth. Send those roots deep down, down into the restful darkness until there they reach the source of love. Now imagine feeling the warmth of the sun on the crown of your head, pulling those waters up your roots, through your legs, through your belly, and into your heart. Now, if you want to make the waters run faster and fill your heart more fully, imagine the faces of the people and pets you love. Imagine the places you love. Look up often at trees and watch their leaves move in the breeze. Sit by running water. Listen to birds singing. Notice the colors of flowers. Read your favorite stories. Talk to your friends. Dance to your favorite music. Meditate or pray. Make art. Write your feelings down in a beautiful journal. Sing. Do the things that bring you joy and peace, because they will make those waters of life run so fast that they will pour out of your heart and into the world. Now, the second part of the secret teaching is that the well that your tribe of valley dwellers tends and keeps, the well around which is built your sanctuary, is a magic well. If it dries out because you can't go and tend it, you can get it going again simply by pouring the waters of life, those sweet, cool waters infused with pure love. You can pour those out from your hearts into the world, and your well receives all the waters you pour out. So the more you do together to help the world, the more loving kindness you share, the more there will be in the well. It's a paradoxical teaching, but one that has been proven true over thousands of years of human experience. As an old song goes, love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold on tight, you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, you'll have so many, they roll all over the floor. Oh, love is something, if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Oh, love is something, if you give it away, you end up having more.
The people took these words and pondered them, and then they poured their waters out from their hearts to refill their shared well. Thus did they renew their commitment to bringing the waters of love out into the world. Now is the time for our water communion. If you were not able to send a video of yourself pouring water, you can still participate by pouring water from a small container, symbolizing your own heart, into a larger container, symbolizing the congregation and its well of the waters of life. Let the gathering of the waters begin. Now is the time for our water communion. If you were not able to send a video of yourself pouring water, you can still participate by pouring water from a small container, symbolizing your own heart, into a larger container, symbolizing the congregation and its well of the waters of life. Let the gathering of waters begin.
Celebrating the water
Be like water, be like rain. 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 like water, be like rain, be 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 like water, be like rain.
The valley dwellers found that each of them did indeed have a tiny well inside them, from which flowed the waters of life, and they could pour it out into the world. And they found that their shared well did indeed pour forth the waters of life faster and more smoothly when the people arranged to pour their individual waters out together at the same time. And so they did both of those things. They poured their waters out on their own, and they poured their waters out together. They shared the waters of life from home. They put on gear that protected them from the plague and went out into the world to share the waters with others. The valley dwellers did everything they possibly could to share their waters of life. And after a long and scary time, finally, the monsters of fear and anger and hatred began to subside. Once that happened, the plague began to disappear as well, and eventually, the people could meet in person again in their own building, and they could tend their beautiful well as they had before. But they never forgot the ancient teaching the traveler had shared with them, and they taught it to their children, who taught it to their children, and so on and so on. And after a few generations, the world was even more beautiful than it had ever been before. And that is the end of our story. Or is it just the beginning?
In closing, I offer you these words from Reverend Kendra Ford. Be like water. Run deep. Run clear. Fill any space to its own dimensions. Respond to the moon, to gravity. Change colors with the light. Hold your temperature longer than the surrounding air. Take the coast by storm. Go underground. Bend light. Be the one thing people need, even when they're fasting. Eat boulders quietly. Be a universal solvent. Now let's sing hymn number 121, We'll Build a Land, recognizing that the song describes people in terms of a gender binary that doesn't actually exist. Number 121, We'll Build a Land.
Anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from mold, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts out into the world until we meet again. Now, people of this beloved community, you are the keepers of the waters of life. Go forth from this time and pour them out on this beautiful and burning world. Go shining. Blessed be.